Oh man.
Woo! David.
Hari.
Hari,
Yeah.
nice to meet you, man.
Same here.
All right, let's do this thing. I'd ask you what you're doing at the HighLevel convention, but you actually work for HighLevel. So talk a little bit about what you do at HighLevel.
So I head the quality engineering.
Okay.
The QA. Yeah. So we have grown pretty fast over the last 2-3 years.
You guys have grown so fast.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And we know we have added 10 of features. We ought to stabilize a lot of things. Again, we are doing really good.
Yes.
But it's more like, how can I scale it more so that the customers don't even have an excuse? Right?
Totally.
Yeah.
And how much have you grown? Talk a little bit about that.
In terms of team size?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So, I think over the last 2 years, we have more than tripled.
Wow.
Yeah, that could be the rough number, but that we have clearly more than tripled. This year alone, we have nearly doubled.
That's amazing. In 2024 of all times, so like you guys are doubling.
Yeah, and we have a lot of hiring needs for the next year as well because we are growing immensely.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What's crazy is you guys are growing so quick, but it still seems like you're really in touch with the customers that you meet with. Like, you guys are on the developer side,
right?
And it seems like they flew most of you guys out here to meet directly with customers.
Yes.
How cool is that?
Yeah, I mean, see, this industry needs us to be very close to the customers.
Yeah.
And unlike other organizations, engineering look at support tickets.
Really?
Yeah. So because that's the best feedback, right? You don't have to wait for a support team to convey that. And if you see most of the product managers, engineering, dev, QA, everybody here,
yes,
they are talking to the customer. And again, for me, somebody who's new, when I talk to the customers, I know what kind of problems they are facing, right?
How great is that? So many tech companies, and I've worked with some, they almost like they want to put up a wall between the developers and the customers. And they're like, okay, customers talk to customer support, they'll write up tickets, they'll give it to product, product will scope it out, then maybe they'll go to the developer. So you've gone through 2 levels of interference before you ever hear from a customer.
Right.
You know what I mean?
In quality parlance, we say shift left. I mean, you don't have to wait here. Shift left with the developers and figure out what to do. And the same thing works here because you're shifting left towards customer, hearing from the customers and not in different filtering mode, right?
Yes.
You hear directly and you get to know what's happening. You get to know how to solve and what to solve.
Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah.
How did you tell me, how did you go about joining HighLevel? What were you doing before?
Oh, I've been quality head earlier as well.
You have?
Yeah.
So you've been for a bit.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
and this is the most what do you call it, the high I'm gonna get.
Yeah, really? Yeah, totally.
Yeah, there is, right? And there's a lot of things to solve, a lot of things to scale.
Yeah.
I'm working very closely with product managers, dev, and of course now with the customers.
Yes.
To figure out what do we do. Again, we can't slow down. That's the best part, right? We can't slow down and then say we will do everything, right? We have to be moving at the same speed and still build quality and scalability.
So how are you doing that? What strategies are you employing in order to keep pace with the development you have? Because you guys have a rapid development pace.
Yeah, I agree, right? So we have to definitely be doing a lot of rapid prototyping and delivery to the customers.
Yeah.
But what we can do one step ahead, at least now we can afford to be a little more detailed about what we want.
Okay.
And do a lot of testing even before we get into the QA cycle, right?
Really?
Yeah, so you will be able to enhance the details, provide more details such that people are aware of what they're building, what all things to consider, and then scale. I mean, so far it's been mostly functionality. Now we will say functionality, performance, security, everything, right? So we have to do a lot of these things now, and what we do now in next couple of quarters will keep us in the same growth path for the next 3-4 years, and I'm sure we'll be growing 5x, 10x from here.
Isn't that amazing? Okay, so for the next couple quarters, you have your work cut out for you because you have to essentially build the framework for the next couple years worth of development.
Right. So the most of the big things will happen in the next couple of quarters.
Yeah.
But the journey will be for next 1 or 2 years because we can't be doing everything in one go, and for that we may end up slowing down, which is what we don't want to do.
Right.
So we will put in right places, right practices, right frameworks in place.
Yep.
Follow that, and then of course we'll iterate and then try and tweak things because that's how startups have to do.
Yeah. What makes you really love and want to focus your whole life on the quality side of the tech as opposed to just development?
Yeah, I mean, I started as a developer.
You did, yeah.
My first 2-3 years has been as a developer. And then I see that, I mean, they were not much focus on quality. And that's how I started, early 2000.
Yep.
And that kind of made me feel, okay, I should look at this. And the best part is the first set of customers I worked with, Japanese customers.
Yeah.
They were super focused on quality.
Yep.
And then I started reading books, talking to people and understand, and then realized that there is huge gap on that front which is not offered or covered in at least the Indian tech market.
You're right, there isn't. I think there's so much focus on getting the developer's skills in to be able to build the software, and then not much on understanding who you're building it for or how it's going to be received, right?
Exactly. So
Yeah.
the beauty of this is, you're quality focused, but again, you see end to end.
Yes.
And the business, customers, product, future, market, domain, you look at everything, so you get things right end to end. It's not just one bits and pieces there.
Yes.
So that gives a lot of satisfaction.
That's so cool. And so you guys have developed, it seems like a framework where it's not just like develop the thing and then QA and then launch.
Yeah.
You have a whole process in between development and QA.
Exactly.
Talk about that.
Exactly, yeah. So what we are trying to do now is let the product managers give details. They will talk about what all things to consider, both functional, non-functional, everything. So the engineers will get to those details.
Yeah.
And when they are working in a sprint, they know the story detail, what all things to consider. Maybe I'm trying to do these 3 user stories for this feature.
Yep.
And the next sprint will have the remaining ones, but they will have more clarity. And developers will have to understand what all things to consider. It's not like they build it, they get a feedback from QA later on, then they're testing it. They would invariably get a lot of things about how are we testing it, what all things we consider. So developers will also start testing it.
That's amazing. So you can start the feedback loop early on in the process.
Exactly.
As opposed to when you get much further and then going back and fixing things becomes that much more
that's
difficult.
a gap we are having because of the pace with which we are doing it.
Yeah.
Right. So we have to change that. I mean, it's good we have grown so far, but again, for us to sustain and scale, we have to do something different.
Yes. That's exciting. So you're doing something totally novel, and you're getting to really expand. You call it QA, but it's more than QA even, right?
So
it really
that's why I call it as quality engineering and not
quality
QA.
engineering. I like that.
Yeah, I've been talking about this for last 12 years in India.
Really?
Because people have been just saying QA. I mean, QA becomes subset, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and even in many organizations, if I say quality engineering, they're saying, okay, why is it quality engineering?
Yeah.
You got to engineer quality from the word go.
That's smart. Rather than just doing it as an afterthought after you've built the thing.
Prevent it rather than finding it. I mean, we will find it, but if we can prevent 70%, that's a better job.
100%. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? Like that's definitely the way to do it. I'd be remiss if I didn't let you give a shout out to your son right now, because I know he's a huge fan of Ferraris.
Yeah.
Give a shout out. Who's shouting out right now?
Yeah, I love the drive. I mean, my son is really crazy about Ferrari, so I'm doing it for him. No, this is for you.
Awesome, buddy. It's been a great talking to you, man. Yeah, likewise.
You have so much of knowledge, man.
It's fun. I love this stuff. Yeah.